we've also had a very dramatic development in an underground terrorist nerve center that Hezbollah and Iran spent years and a huge amount of wealth and money, treasure really, to build. It's called the Ali Tahir Ridge. It's in the Nabatieh area of southern Lebanon. It's overlooking the Beaufort, I guess you could call it a castle, which is another site that Hezbollah had taken over, and the IDF took it back over. So this Ali Tahir Ridge has got a number of Hezbollah terrorists, some of them senior, holed up underground. They've been there for weeks. And Hezbollah has tried to use drones to get supplies to them. It's tried to enable them to escape. The IDF is not allowing it to do that. It's encircled the area. There are lots of things going on in this area. And a few days ago, we had a fiber optic first-person view drone attack by Hezbollah on members of the elite engineering Yahalom IDF unit in the area, causing serious injury to 2 soldiers and an officer. Now, that is a sign, I think, by Hezbollah. We can read that as saying that their terrorists under the Ali Tahir Ridge complex are in distress and they want to try and get them out, or they want the IDF to stop closing in on this, because this is a very important nerve center. It enables them to overlook the whole the area. It's actually part of a Hezbollah territorial unit called the Badr unit. They've divided southern Lebanon into these territorial units. So Radwan is the elite Hezbollah unit that operates across all sectors, and it's actually the slated invasion force that Hezbollah had built to invade northern Israel, the Galilee region, and conduct an attack on an order of magnitude that would have been several times larger and worse than October 7th. That was the job of the Radwan force. And the territorial units inside Lebanon are supposed to repel IDF activity. So the Badr unit is controlling the Ali Tahir underground ridge, very important strategic area, and Hezbollah is on the cusp of losing it, and that's why they launched this drone. Now, in response to this drone attack, the Israeli Air Force launched a series of quite devastating targeted attacks. They killed a senior Radwan unit commander. They killed a Badr unit battalion commander, several terrorists. One of the terrorists, these strikes were conducted in the Nabatieh area. One of the terrorists from the Badr unit was in charge of frontline drone operation. This gives you a sense of just how precise the intelligence is. One of the terrorists was surrounded by his wife and children, using them as human shields. One of the most sick and cynical uses of human shields, and they do it on a regular basis. They do it in Gaza, they do it in Lebanon. This is the same doctrine that they learned from Iran. And so there were these airstrikes, and now things have calmed down again. But really, at the end of the day, I think that the Lebanese arena is also frozen. I think we can say it's also frozen. And the good news is that the IDF is there, 10 kilometers deep, providing vital security for the northern communities that are really now starting to flourish again. Just like in the Gaza envelope, the communities are starting to flourish. People are back in their homes. They're rebuilding. They see a future. Why? Because the IDF is on the other side. Because they cannot be defended from the border. Because no international force is going to do our security for us. And those are the hard truths. And so whatever you may hear during the various, election seasons coming up here in Israel and the US, remember this: the security establishment of Israel today says that they have to be on the other side of the border for a very long time to make sure that the horrors of October 7th and also smaller attacks that I don't think we can afford to absorb. Imagine a smaller attack, God forbid, on one of these border communities. That could render it inhabitable. That people could say, that's it. I can't deal with this after October 7th. Another attack, another anti-tank missile attack on buses or vehicles or homes. We can't afford it. We have no more room for error. We can't gamble anymore. Here, too, in Lebanon, we're seeing the diplomatic arena become more dominant regarding the future of Lebanon. But here, I think that Israel's situation is a little bit easier. And I'll tell you why. We have basically 2 pilot zones. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this. in recent weeks, in which the Lebanese armed forces have moved into these two pilot zones. One of them is located just outside the Israeli security zone, and the second is located just outside of the Israeli security zone. Sorry, one is outside and one is inside, but both of them are fairly distant from the Israeli border. And their job, the job of the Lebanese army, is to prove that they can disarm Hezbollah and demilitarize the area. As this is happening, Israelis and Lebanese and Americans have been meeting in Rome on and off to try and map out the next stages. They're talking about bringing in an international force. Again, this sort of magical recipe that's somehow going to help everything. And they're going to bring this force in to watch and monitor how the Lebanese army is disarming Hezbollah. Well, look, guess what? In those two security zones, in those two pilot zones, I haven't seen any evidence, literally nothing at all, that the Lebanese army has actually taken any concrete steps to disarm Hezbollah. I haven't seen them go into bunkers. I haven't seen them go into homes in a systematic manner. I haven't seen them confront Hezbollah. All I've seen is grand gestures and diplomatic statements and perhaps the occasional patrol. It seems to me that the Lebanese army so far is getting an F. It's failing in its attempt to prove that it can apply Lebanese state sovereignty. And this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And so Israel's position is easier here because Israel can very clearly say, look, until we see you, Lebanon, actually take steps to disarm Hezbollah, this pilot program stays where it is. There will be no further security zones that IDF is going to pull out of until you can actually prove that you can disarm them. I would also add, by the way, that there's no reason to wait for the pilot zones. The Lebanese army can also try and prove its ability to confront Hezbollah anywhere in Lebanon. How about Beirut, the capital? What about Dakhya? Nothing, no disarmament happening there either. And I'm sure those of you who've watched my previous videos know what the reason for that is. Half of the Lebanese army made up of Shiites. You know that Lebanon is deeply divided into sects. And the Shiite sect is the one that also produced Hezbollah and is the one that has essentially been taken over by Iran and the Islamic Revolution. And so these Lebanese Shiites don't want to fight their fellow Lebanese Shiites from the same villages who they know so well. They don't have the appetite to do it. And Hezbollah has infiltrated parts of this army, including the military intelligence part of it, which is very important for any military. So right now, we don't even have the composition, the right composition to take on Hezbollah in the Lebanese army. And this should be no surprise that the Lebanese army is not succeeding so far in disarming Hezbollah. I think I said in the previous video that they're not going to succeed. Unfortunately, I'd love for them to succeed, but they don't. There's no evidence that they have the capability. And we have to keep remembering that word, capability. You know, when we talk about these grand diplomatic arrangements, the first question we all have to ask is, do the players have the ability to do what they say they're going to do? That's what it comes down to. That's the reality check. In Lebanon, so far and for the foreseeable future, the answer is no. That's why Defense Minister Israel Katz said, look, the IDF is going nowhere. It's going to stay in southern Lebanon for a long time. This statement was condemned, of course, by the Lebanese and by international actors that, they said Israel promised to withdraw. Israel said it would withdraw only if they see evidence of the Lebanese army doing what it said it could do. Zero evidence right now of that. None. Absolutely zero.